Hello and welcome to On the Preds with me, your host, Alex Doherty of A to Z Sports, and my co-host, Sean Smith. And we are in full video mode today. We are busting out the video for the first time this year. I know Sean's excited. Trimmed the beard. Got some good got some good background going on. We are kind of changed some things around in the little studio here, so we've got a little different look, but still audio, of course, on Spotify and iTunes. But now, all season long, we will be on YouTube, on the A to Z Sports YouTube. So if you're listening to this, you want to go check it out. Throughout the course of the year, we will have things to show you on the video. On the video side, like we'll have some goal highlights, some interviews, that kind of thing. And as well as, visually, you just get to see us talking about stuff. So that's fun.
Alex, I'm going to say this, something that I have grown used to quite a bit over the course of the off season and the audio only off season was being able to mute my microphone and cough and sneeze and hork and all that fun stuff. So
yeah,
it's going to be an adventure these first few episodes, remembering that I can't do that.
You can still do that. I don't really care, honestly. Just go for it. You can mute and just do it. Most people probably won't even notice. But we have to talk about the Preds because, as you can see, we're on the two things. First of all, that way. It is episode 50, the big 5-0. We've done 50 of these episodes, Sean.
Wow. That's a lot of episodes, Alex.
Yeah. And today we are going to talk about how, all right, so last week we led off the show with the declaration that the Nashville Predators were the best team in hockey.
Yep.
They were 2-0. They were on top of the league.
Yeah. First place.
First place. True statement. That was a true statement. This week we will lead off with the statement: the Preds are decidedly not the best team in hockey. They are somewhere in between the best and somewhere in between there and the worst. So,
well, it's not a bad place to be. I mean, I really thought it was sustainable, the 82-0 dream, because it was still alive. I mean, it's a nice place to be, but honestly, you live in fantasy land for too long, your dreams are going to be shattered and broken. So it's good you get the 2 losses for the season out of the way, and we'll go on to 80-2.
Yeah, that could happen. I think it's more likely that given how these last 2 games went, which we'll talk about, the Predators will be very difficult. It will be very difficult for them to win 80 games going through, unless, of course, Dallas is just like, the best team on earth. So, because if you don't know what we're talking about, the Predators played 2 games against the Dallas Stars, and they lost both times in very convincing fashion. Dallas dominated both games, especially from a defensive goaltending standpoint. Both games in Thursday in Nashville and then Saturday in Dallas. Thursday 4-1 was the final, and then Saturday 5-1 was the final. So a 9-2 beatdown. Felt like the playoffs last year against the Avalanche, where it's just like a blowout and total domination, which is not great, and we'll talk about why that is. The Predators put up 62 shots and only got 2 goals. Jake Ottinger.
Tell you what, he's always looked to be a pretty good goalie to me, honestly. So I wasn't too surprised that he put on a good show. I think what was more surprising to me was just the way the offense just stifled the Predators' defense. It looked like it was not their best 2 games as a defense. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
They looked kind of out of their league for those 2 games, in my opinion. It was kind of bizarre. You've grown used to, even when the forwards aren't producing for the Predators, you could rely on the defense to be stout and strong, but that wasn't the case with Dallas.
No, there was not a lot going well in the offense, or on special teams, or defensively. There were just so many problems up and down the board. Let's start with what I think is the most pressing issue, and that has to do with pressure. So Dallas has a new head coach, Pete DeBoer, and he was the coach for Vegas. And then was fired. And then when when Dallas let their coach go last year. He was hired sometime this past summer. But Pete DeBoer generally has a pretty high pressure offense and a lot of pretty aggressive forecheck. But it's never been something that the Predators have been unable to handle. This particular forecheck with Dallas, they were unable to handle, and I think some of it was, there's one major new pairing with Ryan McDonagh and Mattias Ekholm, and they were really off their game in both games against Dallas. Roman Yossi has not really gotten going the way he did last year so far, and Alex Carrier and Dante Fabro, and then the sort of, alternating between Jeremy Lauzon and Mark Borowiecki are just like not quite good enough to really handle it yet. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just like the defense just really struggled to activate or to regroup and then to advance the puck. It was really rough to watch. I mean, it was all night. I know we were watching Saturday, and then you were there on Thursday. It just was, man, there were a lot of things that did not go well.
I think one of the things that was most surprising to me, we talked a lot through the beginning of the season, specifically even into the games in Prague, and how good the defensive pairing of Ryan McDonagh and Mattias Ekholm looked. And it was really kind of shocking. I mean, you mentioned that it looked like they were having some issues. And I was thinking about this. I had a lot of time to think. Is it possible? And I don't know. You've got Mattias Ekholm, who's used to playing, he's the stay-at-home defender, and you've got Ryan McDonagh, who's also a stay-at-home defender. And is it possible that they're both used to having someone on their pairing with them that is not a stay-at-home defender? And so kind of getting used to that, okay, look, nobody's activating here. We're both going to try to stay home, and therefore no one activates. And
I don't think so.
No, I don't know.
No, I don't think so, because I don't think that that's really what they would rely on, because the forwards that they're playing with should be good enough to manage that. Like they don't need. I mean, occasionally I would think it's actually kind of the opposite. I would think that they would prefer to have another defender on their opposite side that kind of stays back with them. That's what I would think, especially because John Hines' system is so much about maintaining that defensive structure, and
Right.
when you regroup to clear the path, like in order to clear a path towards the net, it's towards the offensive zone. It is about getting your defense set up evenly, like not getting out of position, not getting off shape, and getting your forwards to do that work for you. I mean, like the forwards it's so much reliant on the forwards to create that offensive pressure, to create those zone entries. Again, the exception is Roman Yossi. He does whatever. But
right. I
would think that McDonagh and Ekholm would be perfectly fine just having defensemen that kind of stay back more. I think, honestly, what's happening is I really think it's more on Ekholm. I think it's more Ekholm than McDonagh. I think Ekholm, the problem is he's still getting used to playing full-time on that right side.
Entirely possible.
I mean, I think it has its benefits. He talked about it. He worked on it all summer, but he, even working on it in the summer, you're not working against full-time, full NHL players. And so I think,
well, and if you look at our previous sample size of the 2 games in Prague, they're playing against the Sharks.
Yeah, right. I mean, the Sharks, I think they looked fine against the Sharks, but the Predators the Sharks didn't have as much pressure as the Stars did.
Right.
So
that's what I meant. It was
yeah. What is
not
it going to
full
look
strength
like?
NHL.
What is it going to look like against Los Angeles on Tuesday, who has some really gifted forwards? What's it going to look like against Colorado? Dallas is a good team. They're probably a playoff team, but they're not Colorado. I don't even think they're Los Angeles. I think the Kings are better than them. I mean, like, yeah, the defense is going to have to really work some stuff out. And I say that also knowing that the forwards have not been great either. I mean, the one line with Ryan Johansson and Nino Niederreiter, and most of the time Eeli Tolvanen, there was a couple of games without him, but that line has been great. That line has been generating some chances, generating some expected goals, and preventing them the other way. They've been great. The Forsberg, Granlund, Duchesne line, average at best. Not anything close to what last year was.
No.
And the herd line, I did some research today. The herd line is not performing all that well. And then the fourth line, kind of typical fourth line stuff. The forward groups are not doing their jobs right, and the defense is not able to hold up either. I mean, these things work in tandem. It's not just like two halves of the ice and no one, they don't ever talk. They work together, and neither one are really doing their jobs right now.
That's a problem. Is it going to get solved by the time they play again? They've had some practices.
I think that they'll have to work out something. And I'll be really interested to see what the line combinations look like on Tuesday. To see, what if they do change anything. I don't know if there's going to be major changes.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to be said, I think, too, for sample size. They've only played 4 games, and there has been a lot of shifting around on some of the lines. And so I don't necessarily know that drastic changes to the personnel are what you're expecting to see as much as it's let's do some intense work on a few different aspects and discuss how we want things to be played, and then give it a chance to work itself out in the next couple of games. So, I mean, that's my guess as to what you would noticeably see.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What do you think about Roman Yossi so far? Because Yossi, like, to say that this offense, this team is built around Yossi is an understatement. I mean,
right.
If this team did not have Roman Yossi, it would have to significantly restructure how it attacks the net, how it attacks the offensive zone. He is everything for that. He activates, he cycles, he finds looks, he finds passes, he gets open, he puts shots on net. That's what he does. And right now he's got 1 assist in 4 games. He's not really done much. What do you make anything of that?
So I don't have any of the research to back it up, Alex. I don't have any numbers. I don't have any stats, and I can't really point to any specific incident or incidents on the ice as of yet. But what I'm planning on looking at very closely over the next few games is I want to watch how Roman Yossi's covered. My concern is that if you think about, tactics and strategies, if you have one person who is kind of the linchpin for the entire offense, doesn't it make sense to just try to shut that person down, even if it means committing more resources to that person? Because if you can shut them down, then the rest of the team's just kind of floundering out there. And I wonder if maybe that was something that Dallas was intentionally doing, was really just trying to keep a lot of bodies on Yossi and force the rest of the guys on the ice to make things happen.
It has been done before, and I think last year Yossi was kind of next level. Like, he was just even with all the extra attention, he was still putting up a lot of points. We'll see how he responds. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I just it's interesting that so far at first 4 games really hasn't been like a big factor. I mean,
they lost 2 games in a row. Sky's falling. That's I don't know what else to say.
2 games against a bad team, 2 wins. 2 games against a good team equals 2 losses. What does that say about? Huh?
Well, you'd hope to split those. You'd hope that the team was 3-1 right now. I mean, honestly,
that's true. Yeah, I mean, like, if all else is equal, like, you would expect them to split the 2 against Dallas, because you would think that you're on the same team or on the same level as Dallas, right, and then win the 2 against San Jose. So, yeah, I would agree. So I want to talk about special teams, and I want to mention Yossi Saros as well. There's something about special teams, something specifically with the power play, that I want to bring up to people. But before I do that, I want to talk about my favorite store in Green Hill. Relax the Back.
Ooh.
In Green Hills. And I've got to show you guys some stuff. I've got some pictures, because on Saturday, I went to the Relax the Back store in Green Hills at 2020 Glen Echo Road, and I talked to Glenn, the owner, for a long time about beds, because as I mentioned on here, my wife and I, we are looking to get a new bed. we need to get a new bed because it is just our back situation is not great. We're not relaxed. And so I went to the store, and first thing before I talk about what we talked about at the store, they have totally revamped their showcase room. I got some pictures here. Here's a good look at the, I know that's kind of on top of us here, but you see the point of what I'm trying to make here. So you've got the beds there. That's the Technogel bed in the background. That's the Tempur-Pedic bed. Here's a little close up of the wedge systems that they have available at their store. Here are some massage chairs. These things are incredibly sophisticated. Those are amazing. And here's a better look at the bed. Now, I laid down on that exact bed that you're looking at. I laid down on that bed, and Glenn told me a lot about how the back works and why you need to be in a neutral position, a zero gravity position. You've got to go talk to Glenn if you have any back issues with sleeping specifically, because he knows everything about it. He will tell you exactly. He'll pinpoint the problems with the way you're sleeping, how to help you, and then also hook you up with some incredible technology, some sleeping technology that will help you. So go to 2020 Glen Echo Road there in Green Hills. Talk to Glenn, and talk to him most importantly about the 4 pillars of wellness: healthy sleep, healthy body, healthy work, and healthy mind. So we'll talk more about that as we go on. But let's talk special teams.
Okay.
So the power play, pretty bad, right?
Well, yeah. Didn't look great.
Any guess about where they rank right now in terms of the power play? You have any guesses?
Well, I've got to think, it's not just the Dallas games we're looking at. It's also the San Jose games. And everybody else is working with only a few games. So we're looking at percentage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I'd say that they're probably 14th.
They are 27th.
Oh.
They have 6.3% power play. But that's second to last. They're tied for 27th or whatever. There's 5 teams below them that have not scored a power play goal at all. Those teams are Columbus, Detroit, Carolina, Montreal, and Buffalo. Now, Carolina, that's surprising, but all those other teams are not very good. So, the Predators right now, the power play is not good. They've scored, power play goals. They've scored 1 power play goal in 16 chances. 6.3%, 6.1%. So that's not good. But here's what I want to point out. They have had the second most ice time of any team in the league, 27 minutes. So they've been on the power play a lot. That is a good thing, because that actually means, they're playing decent enough at 5-on-5 to be able to draw penalties.
Yeah.
They have the most shot attempts of any team in the league. So part of that is because they've been on the ice for a lot of power play time, but they've also generated a ton of shot attempts. These numbers are as of yesterday, so it's maybe updated a little bit, but and they have the 5th most expected goals. Right now they've generated a total of 3.2 expected goals. Like, what that means is, based on the shots and the shot quality that they have, you would have expected them to have about 3 power play goals at this point. They only have 1. So what does that mean? That means that the opposing goalies, Jake Ottinger mostly,
right,
have done their job and done it very, very well. The opposing goalies have kept them off the board. But a lot of that's luck. So what I'm trying to say is, Shaun, I think the power play is going to be okay.
Oh, okay. That's good. I'm going to tell you, the way you explained all that, it made a lot of sense to me. Like, I was following along. I don't know if anyone watching at home was looking at me instead of you, but if you rewind and go back and watch me, you can see me learning.
Well, I'm glad, because I think dissecting a power play is very tough, because everyone sees it's one of the easiest things to watch on if you're just tuning into a hockey game. It's much easier to watch because the action all stays in one end of the ice, right?
Right.
The passes are kind of predictable. You can see where they're going next. You can see where players are open. One team has most possession, so it's easier to track, what's more likely going to happen, a goal or something else. So, and then the defensive players are just working their butts off trying to get to the puck. So
yeah,
I think it's easy to watch, but it is very difficult to dissect where things go wrong. And I'm not doing that yet because it's only 4 games in. When we get to game 10 and they're still at 6%, we'll definitely have to dissect some stuff going on. But I think they'll be better than that.
We get to game 10 and they're still at 6%. I feel like we gotta I don't know, we gotta do something. Not the team, but you and I specifically. Maybe eat something gross on the air. Huh?
Like light an effigy?
Oh, I don't know. That seems a little extreme. I just thought maybe we should eat something gross or,
eat something. I don't want to eat anything gross. I'd rather just
you'd rather burn something in effigy? Okay. That's
fine. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
What do you want to burn in effigy?
I don't know. I would assume that, but by the way, I don't think anything's changed. I think it's Dan Lambert is still in charge of the power play, I would guess, right? He's the guy that they brought in a couple years ago to kind of fix that, and he's still around. I mean, so yeah, I would assume it's still him. I would assume that the general strategy has not really changed. In fact, it's probably gotten better because now Nino Niederreiter is on the second unit. He's been better. Or he's been very good. And the top line is still the same. And that power play was good enough to be 7th in the league last year, I think. 6 or 7.
Who has the power play goal? Can you remember? There's only one.
That's
a Niederreiter?
Oh, it was a tipped goal. It was Niederreiter, yeah.
Okay.
It was a tipped goal at the very end of they had that 5-on-3. It was the 5-on-3 against Dallas.
Yeah. Okay. Good job, Nino.
Nino Niederreiter, 4 goals, 4 games.
He's on pace, man. Yeah. He's on pace for 82 goals. I like it.
He's on pace for 82 goals and 0 assists.
0 assists, which would be really impressive.
The best season. So penalty kill, I did not really do any diving on that. I mean, to me, the penalty kill is all about just not having to do it. Like the penalty situation. Let's look that up because I think the trend is still that this team is going to be a very heavily penalized team. I mean,
yeah, and I think back to last season when there did seem to be a lot of penalties. The Predators were kind of losing games on the heels of taking 5 or 6 penalties a night. And I remember Matthias Ekholm saying something in one of the media availabilities, like, we expect to have to deal with 2 or 3 penalties like that on any given night. He's like, but when you get up beyond that in the 4, 5, 6 region, that it's very taxing on the team. So
yeah,
I've always thought about that.
Yeah. Right now, the Preds are ranked 19th in times shorthanded per game, which is below. That's fine. I mean, that's fine. Yeah. That's really 19th lowest. I mean, like the lower you are on that list, the better. And then they're 20th in shorthanded time on ice per game. So they're actually doing pretty good at not going to the box all the time. And their overall penalty kill percentage is 18th. So, yeah, I mean, maybe the penalty kill is going to be okay. The special teams is just so tricky to talk about because it's just it feels like it's a big momentum momentum changer, but it doesn't actually affect that much of the game. 5-on-5 is so much more important. So, and right now 5-on-5, the Predators have just been really struggling to get anything going against Dallas. So.
Well, there's good news. They don't have to play Dallas for a while.
Yeah, so they don't have to play Dallas for a while. Let's talk about the schedule. Tuesday, they play Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Kings come to town. Very strange start time. I really am just very annoyed by this because I don't understand why it's an 8:30 start on a Tuesday. I'm really curious what this crowd is going to look like. I mean, I have a feeling it's not going to be a great crowd.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I'll tell you, though, I mean, the Kings have changed quite a bit since the last we saw them.
Yeah, the Kings are good. I mean, their record's only 1-2, but I think that they're going to be a playoff team. I
think so, too.
I mean, Gabe Velarde, young guy coming up. Obviously, they've still got, Adrian Kempe and Anze Kopitar are still dragging everybody around. Kevin Fiala, Victor Arvidsson, former Preds there. Old Jonathan Quick still stopping the pucks. I mean, yeah, Kings are good. That's gonna be a tough game. The reason I said I'm not sure about the crowd is not because I think Preds fans are like moving on. I just think the time is going to be weird. The time is a weird one.
Yeah,
you can do those 8:30 starts for playoff games. They'll get there for that. In fact, I prefer the 8:30 start for a playoff game because it gives everybody plenty of time to get there. People are not going to go to an 8:30 game on a random Tuesday in October. Like, it's just
on the heels of 2 losses in a row at that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People are not going to be willing to do that. We'll see. I mean, it's only the second game. Maybe there's still some people who just want to get back to hockey. So we'll see what that looks like. And then
also
Thursday, they go to Columbus.
Oh.
At Columbus.
Should be an interesting game.
And then Saturday at Philadelphia, or the Philadelphia Flyers come back in town, and that would be the return of one Ryan Ellis.
Would be.
But it's not.
No. Nope. That's not going to happen.
Okay, let's go back to Roman Yossi for a second. Or wait, do I mean Roman Yodi?
I think it's just Jody. Old Jody, captain of the team.
Explain what we're talking about, Sean.
Well, I'll let you get the exact text up if you want to. I may have to find it on my phone, but
I found it.
It seems like every year, and it doesn't always happen as quickly as it has now, but some dear soul over on the Facebook decides that it's time to complain about the captain of the team, because the captain, Jody, if you will, is Captain Jody. I think that may be one of the Star Trek captains. I'm not sure. Yeah. But they're not captaining the way that this random Facebook user would be captaining. And I want you to read this, and I have some thoughts, and it's not going to go on forever, but read the caption to me, please.
So this gentleman said, and this was a comment on a post that was just saying that the Preds are bad, basically. And this gentleman commented, "I'm waiting for something I know I'll never see, but I can still dream that it'll happen. I was ready for Jody to call a timeout, pull all of the players on the ice, and give them a dressing down right there in front of the fans. There was a total lack of effort in the last 2 games, going to no look behind the back passes, and generally just hoping for a good result on a play."
So I want to say this. First off, there's only 4 games that the team has played so far. So, now's not the time, but it always happens every year that somebody gets upset about Jody's captaining. So here's what I'll say. As far as pulling the whole team together on the ice and giving them a dressing down in front of the entire crowd, like, I help coach my son's 8U travel ball team, and like occasionally, there it is. Oh, Jody. Occasionally,
I'll put it back up in a second.
Occasionally, when the defense is out there on the field and they're having a rough go of it, the head coach will be like, he'll call it, "Blue, give me time," and they'll call the kids in and give them a pep, like, "Come on, guys, you got this. I know you're better than this." And like, honestly, Alex, it kind of works with 7 and 8-year-old baseball players, but I think just the idea of a professional grown man calling other professional grown men to come to center ice, and I'm going to yell at each one of you individually, and give me the mic, ref, so everybody can hear what I'm saying. I don't think that would go over well.
Not to mention, when is he supposed to do this?
He'll just call time. It's fine.
Yeah,
like, guys, I need time. I got to yell at the team.
John Hines is going to let Roman Yossi use his timeout to then get all the players off the bench.
Yeah, get off the bench. Get out here.
Bring them to the corner, like somewhere in the corner, because he said, "Here, let's go to the comment here. Pull all the players on the ice. Give them a dressing down right there in front of the fans." So he's saying there. He's saying like, it almost sounds like they want what's the in-house MC? What's his name again?
Paul?
No, the guy who goes in the crowd and talks to people.
Wayne D.
Wayne D. Wayne, thank you.
Yeah.
He wants Wayne D to go bring him the microphone and like in the middle of the game, and have the microphone, put the microphone right next to Yossi so that he can hear what he's telling these players. I would assume that Roman Yossi is telling them some just exposing just calling them out, just saying hard truths about their play right now because it's just not working.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, it sounds to me like this is something you would expect at a wrestling match.
Yes.
Now, I gotta tell everybody about what's going wrong.
Exactly.
Here.
That's exactly right. Now, I did not. I blurred the guy's name out. I mean, I don't want to send people flood into his page or whatever. But
no.
I think my favorite part is how he went from, well, other than Jody, going to Jody. I think my favorite part is how he went from this. He kind of is blending two thoughts. Right. He's blending the idea that Yossi, because he says like he wants this to happen, this dressing down, but he's waiting for something he know he'll never happen. He can dream it'll happen. This guy dreams of this happening. This is his innermost desire, is to see this happen, because if it happened, I guess this would have solved the team's problems. But this guy's dream would come true if this happened.
Yeah, I imagine like you're at work, things are kind of slow, like your office door is closed, you start to drift off a little bit, and then suddenly everyone's at your door because you're yelling, "Tell them, Jody, tell them about themselves." And they're like, "Hey, are you okay in there?" And you're like, "Oh, sorry, I was just dreaming. It was my innermost desire." And they're like,
"Exactly,
Jody,
exactly,
captain of the Predators." Like, don't you mean Yossi?
He's got a journal. He writes in a journal like, "Today, it didn't happen."
Did it happen today? Nope.
Roman Jody didn't dress down the team in front of the fans.
I think I'd like a Jody jersey.
That happened. And the other part of this post, there was a total lack of effort in the last two games. I mean, that was shockingly, that's like the most close to accuracy that this guy has. But I would still disagree with it. I mean, there wasn't a total lack of effort, but like that's actually like he's getting a little closer to like what's actually happened the last two games. The team was not good, and there's no excusing how they performed against Dallas in two games. There's no excusing that. But then there's this random thought about going to a no-look behind-the-back pass. He says,
"Well,
oasis.
They're not passes; they're oases. It's
they're
the plural of oasis."
Going behind-the-back passes and generally just hoping for a good result on a play. I don't know where he saw this. I guess he's talking about like a drop pass. I don't remember seeing a behind the back pass where someone just does not know where they're going to. Like people have to remember, like these players are the players that play in the NHL, and even the ones in like the fringe of the AHL are. It's like 1,000 of the best hockey players like in the world, and like they are very good at a lot of different plays. So like, but the way hockey works, like you're going to make some plays that don't work, right? It's about, there's a lot of failure in it. We were talking about this about baseball the other day.
Yeah.
A lot of failure in it, right? The best player in the world, if you succeeded 4 times out of 10, you'd be the best baseball player of all time.
Exactly.
So in hockey, it's a lot like that. I know it's very difficult for people to come to terms with that. Like that the team, lost 2 games and looked terrible. Well, I guess they're going to be terrible. I don't think that's the way it works. No. I think they really struggled against Dallas for those 2 games. Where do they go from here?
Well, I think where they need to go is I mentioned before, they need to take a little bit of time in practice, work on a few key things, and just have a general discussion. And especially, if you talk about, say, some new situations like the Ekholm-McDonough pairing, kind of discuss, hey, look, over the past 4 games, here's what we've seen. This is what we want to see different. And that's where Ekholm and McDonough can go. They can work on that. They can discuss that. At the same time, there's a lot of chaos down on the 4th line. Nobody really knows from day to day who's going to be on that line. It's shifted a lot. So, I mean, you're going to expect some growing pains there. The herd line, get back to identity. What were we doing last season that worked so well? What are we not doing now? And what's funny is, if you or I look at it and we can't figure it out, I guarantee you the coaching staff can. And that's the thing they do. They spend a lot of time going back and watching game film, going back and checking things out. There's an expectation for how they want them to play. It's easy for them to see when that's not happening. That can be corrected quite easily.
Now, what can we critique about that though? Because I think it's one thing to say like, okay, the coaching staff, they're good at what they do, they're going to find the solution, but they have made a couple decisions that don't make a lot of sense. I think there's no reason that Cole Smith should be playing on this team. I don't think anymore, because Cole Smith is not he's not an NHL player.
He's playing in the NHL right now.
He shouldn't be. I mean, Cole Smith is an AHL guy. I think he's fine for that role. He can play in the AHL. Cole Smith is not going to become. He's not going. Maybe I'm being unfair. He might be an NHL player right now. What are they building for with Cole Smith?
Right.
What are they getting to the point where in 3 years Cole Smith is going to be from here to here? Right. That's not going to happen. But it will happen with a Philip Tomasino or an Afanasyev or, I mean, Cody Glass, who I know he had an illness. That's why he sat out. But
right.
I mean, I would even argue for Kiefer Sherwood over a Cole Smith, because Kiefer Sherwood's at least like proven that he can play like pretty consistently and play pretty well. I mean, he's better career numbers than Cole Smith does.
I wonder how much.
I sound like I'm piling on to Cole Smith. It's not just about that, but I'm saying like the coaching staff does deserve credit for like what they do well, but they need to be called out for what they don't do well too. And I think Cole Smith doesn't really belong in this lineup. I think they need to pick a defenseman between Borowiecki and Lauzon and go with it.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm going to say, I think you're being a little harsh on Smiths. I don't appreciate that.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's my last name. I feel a special kinship, I mean, you were a lot nicer about Craig back in the day. So, I'm kind of used to the way you treat Smiths, and now it's all this Smith hate. And I'm like, am I next? I don't know. If I don't speak up for Cole, maybe Shaun's next on Alex's list. So I don't know. But no, I mean, you're right. I feel like there's – go ahead.
In a way, what happened is they got there, and then they put Michael McCarron out there on was that the first? Was that in Nashville, or was that in Dallas?
When McCarron was the first Dallas game he played, because
he played in on Thursday. So that was the game I couldn't watch. But again, it's same thing with McCarron. Like, okay, I get he was a former first round pick. He's 27 now. He hasn't turned into a consistent force that needs to be out there, but they keep trying it. And like they got themselves in a situation where they went and signed Zach Sanford and Kiefer Sherwood and Jankowski, and so they got to give these guys chances, right? They gave them money to come in here. Sure. Well, they just have to hope that one of those guys emerges as like a go-to guy. Meanwhile, Philip Tomasino is on the top line in Milwaukee, and he's like the guy that you need to be really finding out if he's good, because if not, then you got to act quickly. So again, I bring all that up because they're not. We can't sit here and only say that the coaches are, well, they're doing their job and they want to win too. They don't always make the right decisions, and I know you know that, but just
I do know that. Trust me. Sometimes I've said things about it. But I mean, I know where you're coming from, and especially with Cole Smith, I feel like maybe there is some kind of, he's been with the organization for a long time. Maybe they just try to give him a look every year to see, hey, maybe this is the year. I don't expect him to be on the roster for very long, and he'll probably be back in Milwaukee as soon as they're ready to bring Tomasino up, which I'd say, I'm assuming will happen. The idea that they want him to be playing, top line minutes in Milwaukee so he gets more minutes, more touches, especially on the power play. I get that. I don't love it, but I get it. Do I think he'd be better off coming and playing on the fourth line the way it's made up right now in Nashville? No. But
this makes me laugh. I just just went and looked at Cole Smith's elite prospects page, and they have this thing where they show projected numbers.
Right.
They have Cole Smith projected at having 82 games played, 0 goals, and 21 assists.
Wow.
I just think that's very funny. What a strange season that would be if Cole Smith played 82 games, didn't score a single goal, and somehow managed 21 assists. Wow.
Racking up the apples there. I guess I would like to see a commitment to a fourth line where you have, the idea is, look, they're going to go out and they're going to create offense. You have someone like Cody Glass playing at center. You have Tomasino out there. And again, somebody like Sherwood on that line with him, I think that would be a pretty solid fourth line. I think they could make a lot of things happen. But I don't think it's worth bringing him up and reducing the minutes he's going to get or the power play time he's going to get until they're ready to make that commitment. And maybe they're just kind of, we can work through some of these guys on the fourth line a little bit more and see who's going to be the other guy a lot quicker if we can play 2 a night. And we'll let Tomasino stay in Milwaukee and keep playing and get those minutes up and get those touches up and then bring him back in when they know what they're doing.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think that's fine. Now, they didn't need to get themselves in that situation. They didn't need to sign all those dudes, but you're right. They did. If they threw a bunch of apples into the bag, it's easier to eat 2 apples at once than just take 1 apple out at once. I don't know what this analogy is. I was going with apples.
Speaking of a bag of apples, Cole Smith's supposed to score 21 assists. So that's pretty impressive. There you go.
Whole bag of apples, Smith. He's just an assist machine.
Man,
don't ask him to shoot.
Piling them up.
Don't ask him to shoot. What if you had a 20-point season in which you had all assists? That's pretty wild.
What if his nickname became Johnny Appleseed?
Johnny. Surely there's some hockey players that's had that as their nickname, right?
What about Granny Smith?
There you go. Granny Smith apples. Geez. Perfect. That's a good one. Okay. I think that's about going to cover it for today. This was a great first video episode. In the future, we will have more of these. Probably work, like I said before, work in a little bit more, showing some goal highlights, maybe breaking down some footage, talking about, showing some John Hines clips, whatever, maybe interviews with Cole Smith, who knows? And that'll be coming all season long. We will be dropping these episodes. It says every Sunday. We are going to get that updated every Monday because we've got to do some updating to this graphic. We'll get on it. It says every Sunday. It's going to be every Monday now. So these will be uploaded every Monday. But anyways, that's going to do it for us. You can check us out on check out all of our hockey coverage at atozsports.com. Follow me on Twitter at AlexDarty1. Follow Shaun on Twitter at SCSNSH. Any final thoughts before we go?
Just I hope Jody can get it together. That's all I got.
Come on, Jody.
Come on, Jody.
Make that dude's dreams come true.
I want a Jody jersey.
All right, see you, everybody.